diving into Keap Pro strategy of lead capture. So, starting up from the very top, how do we get leads into the Keap system? There's multiple ways. There's the manual way. When we're talking about manually adding leads into Keap, we use the green plus up in the top left-hand corner and we manually add contacts into Keap. Pretty straightforward. When we come here, it's going to be defaulted to this add a contact form. This add a contact form, it has no ties to any automation. It is the only safe form that you can fill out that isn't going to accidentally send anything out to people that you don't mean to. But as you can see up in the top left-hand corner, there's a drop down here. These forms that you see below the add a contact are your internal forms. This is our automation agency sandbox application. So you guys are going to see past previous classroom stuff and documentation here. So don't get too worried. But essentially, Keap has an internal form that it's designed and thought about to provide users with the ability of providing documentation. Think of this like a post-call form, right? So everybody here came through a coach to one of our coaches here at the automation agency, and when that coach was helping you and going through your classes with them, they filled out an internal form, right? On that internal form that they were filling out, they were documenting each session that was happening with that call, allowing us as a company to document those calls and we have them and be able to establish metrics and key performance indicators, KPIs, to let us know how those calls are going. That's one way of utilizing internal forms. It's also a really cool way to implement for like front desk people. Let's say you have a rep at your front desk that's taking phone calls and you're like, hey, John, I need you to make sure you're always getting the first name, last name, email address, and what they're interested in. You could create an internal form that you can customize for your front desk people to make sure that every single time somebody's coming through your doors, calling you up, you have a consistent amount of information. So that's one way of gathering leads inside of Keap manually. The other way is the Keap mobile application that everybody has here with their Keap Pro. In that Keap Pro mobile app, you have the ability of taking pictures with the mobile app and of business cards and having that automatically create contact records and having that get added into the Keap system. So, manual ways. The ways that you can utilize Keap automated wise through creating public forms and lead capture happens on the left-hand side of your screen underneath the giant megaphone where it says marketing. This tab opens up and it'll give you your forms, your public forms, your internal forms, and your landing pages. It also gives you a nice little bit of like related shortcuts, allowing you to get to like other cool little marketing tools, but it's mostly for the forms, right? So when you come here and you want to create a public facing external public form, right? All you have to do is make sure you're selected on public forms and click on create form. That's going to open up the wizard. The wizard itself is trying really hard to be really, really simple and straightforward, but it still has got some confusing things, right? So let's talk through it. At the top, you have your internal or public, right? Which way you want to build it. Then below, it's got these little templates. What Keap was trying to do was trying to help out people that didn't know what fields to put on the form by creating these different templates. But they all essentially do the same thing. They're built to capture information, right? You can always add more fields onto them, or you can take fields away. So really, there's no functional difference to them. Most of the time, we tell people to just leave it at lead form. It's the most basic, right? When you click on the start building your own, the blue button, it's going to load you into the builder. And inside the builder, you're going to see a couple different things. Easiest way to kind of think about it is split the screen in half, right? Left-hand side is how you build it, how you customize how it's going to look, how you actually mold it, right? On the right-hand side, it's how it's going to look when it's customer facing, right? What's the person that's filling out that form going to see? The name up here is customer facing, so you don't want to put like the jerk face form up here. You want to be a little bit more specific to what you're interested in. Contact us, newsletters, newsletter signups, something like that. Now, you don't have to pick any nerd verbiage here. You don't have to use anything intense. Definitely find a naming convention that makes sense to your company with words that make sense to your team, because it's more important for y'all to know how to navigate around here than have some marketing term for the form, right? Below that, this headline is what goes underneath the company logo, and your button text is what your button says here. By default, it says submit, right? But you can change that to, start my journey, or any, connect with team, right? Let me know. You could really customize that button to really be as personal. The opportunity is we want the form to have a genuine feel of how they get talked to when they're talking to a human with a company. So if you guys use a certain type of vernacular, or if you talk a certain way, implement that within your marketing efforts. So that way, when people get attracted to your lead capture devices and they start interacting with your company, it's a very consistent messaging. Make sense? Everything makes sense so far for everybody? I'm kind of hitting the ground running on a Wednesday. If you have any questions on any of the stuff, yeah, thumbs up me, pop it in the Zoom chat. Me and Val are here to help, okay? So below that is where you get to your fields. This is the information we're actually capturing for them, right? You have two options to pick from. Any existing fields that you already have. This is your add a fields area here. And the create a new field if there's something new that we want to collect, right? Now, the problem with the creating of new custom fields is that there's a limit. There's a functional system limit for how many custom fields you can have. And there's not any way to get more, right? It's just how much Keap can handle. Here, and in our sandbox application, we can only have 100 of these. In some of your versions of your applications, you might see a different number. That's just basically depending on where you are at with the product rollout, okay? But right now, 100 is like pretty much the default. Everybody at least gets 100. Inside these custom fields, you can name them whatever you want, and you can always change the name whenever you want, not a big deal. But the field type is a big deal. This field type completely changes how you are able to interact with the information that you are storing. It can either make your life really nice and simple, or it can make your life very, very difficult. For example, inside this dropdown, you can see that there's text and text area. This is really cool. People can type whatever the heck they want to into a text area, right? But if we, the users, are looking for information in a text area, it becomes a lot more difficult to find that accurate information, because text fields are case sensitive, right? So if they type in, Valerie with a capital V, that's going to look at and search differently than Valerie with the lowercase v. Or if they put Val, right? Those all have to be separate searches. So the opportunity when you guys are creating your lead capture mechanisms and you're creating your fields is to make sure that you pick a type that's going to fit and give you that information accurately the way you need it. Because once you create it as a type, you can't change it. It's always going to be that type. Make sense? Should feel pretty good for everybody. Your coaches should have covered a little bit of this stuff together, right? Awesome. Now, cool opportunity that Keap has. That you have the ability to add directly to the notes in a contact record from a public form. So this is kind of a really interesting way of being able to have a text area where we can have people provide us with information, but it's not going to burn us on the custom field side, because custom fields are so valuable. We want to make sure that we're saving them for data points or segmentation or engagement, something that's going to generate that custom field back to creating revenue, right? So if there's an opportunity where we need to, hey, tell me more about your journey, use the add a note function. It's going to save you a lot of heartache. Okay. Once you configure your forms, however way you like it, and you go to your next page of styling, this is where you can start to customize the way the aesthetics of this web form are going to look, right? This isn't the only place where you can mess with this. This is just the first place. So at the top, it's going to ask you really quick, do you want to do your logo or not? This is really a question of embedding. If you're embedding the forms onto your website, you really don't need to have the logo, because the website's got the logo. We don't want it to be too big on the web page, right? But if we are using the form as like a lead magnet from Facebook, then we probably want to have the logo on there because we want to have some branding, right? Now, background colors, this is all up to your guys' discretion. There's nothing to compel anybody to do any coloration that they don't want to do. It is all just about making sure that this thing can look the way you want it to look. So you can see it's very customizable. The next area when you're going through your forms is the first opportunity that you have to develop automation. This is an easy automation, right? So what easy automations are designed to do is to provide you a very quick way of accomplishing very simple, small things. So when we're thinking about easy automations, they're really cool for notifications, appointment reminders, um, adding tags to contact records. They're not good for anything that requires analytics, reporting, clarity of efficacy. There's no tool inside of easy automations that's let you know when somebody opens up the email and then clicks on it, or what did they do action wise. So you really want to just leave the easy automations for, hey, they filled out a form, let me send them a thank you email and let me get notified, something simple like that. The other area of Keap for automations, the advanced automation builder, we're going to be talking about that here in a little bit, but that is really where you get your analytics, your reporting, your depth.